Well, 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 he's finally here, ladies and gentlemen, the Grail Knight. And I'm going to start with the gear on this guy because he's got two new pieces of equipment. Let me just start off by mentioning that this is a melee-only class. He has no range weapons that he can use. So naturally, the first weapon I'm going to love, obviously, is the Bretonnian Longsword. Crit chance, attack speed, and swift sling on this one are going to make you a pretty fearsome elite killer, even pretty decent at hordes and things of that nature. This is a very good weapon. It's got a lot of stagger force. At this point in time, you can even stagger a Chaos Warrior. So I mean, this is a pretty beastly weapon. It's got a little kind of this motion, but it's really good for easy fucking headshots. It's kind of unique in that way. And then you also have the Bretonnian Sword and Shield. The second weapon in this slot that you use really doesn't matter. You can just use your favorite weapon if you want. But I like this one because it's new and I'm showing it off. I go for crit chance, attack speed, and swift sling on this one for the light attack sequence, which is a sword, and a little push with the shield. I kind of like it for crowd control when I want to just push things. It's pretty nice. The necklace on this guy, I go for health and block cost reduction. Health because he's a tank class. Why wouldn't you want to have more health? But also because we're going for Boon of Shalia, which is probably the most important part of this build, by the way. Boon of Shalia is absolutely amazing for temp health generation. So naturally we're going to want more health to be able to generate more THP. And that'll be explained kind of more in the talent section, because there's a lot of talents that work really well with Boon of Shalia. The Charm, Powers, Chaos, Attack Speed, Concoction. His cooldown on his ult is about 40 seconds, so it's pretty short. Powers, Chaos for a little more damage against heavier HP guys, and Attack Speed because the Bretonnian Longsword is just slightly slow. So a little attack speed will help that out. Very nice. The Trinket gets Curse Resistance, Crit Chance, and Shrapnel. It's pretty standard for me on Legend and Underruns. Curse Resistance for your Grims, Crit Chance to proc your Swift Sling. Shrapnel, you can take a bomb, throw it at a monster or a patrol, and they'll take 20% increased damage for 10 seconds. Moving on. Talking about the Grail Knight himself. His passive ability, the Lady's Duty. Upon entering a mission, the Lady of the Lake grants 2 random duties for the Grail Knight and his party to complete. Upon completion of a duty, the party is granted a benison for the rest of the mission. So this is like, find a tome, find a grim, kill 10 elites. These are the quests you get. And you get certain rewards like damage reduction, 10% damage reduction, 10% increased damage for the whole party. And then there's like a HP regen one, which I think is kind of overpowered, honestly, because you can heal all the way up to full health, which is, I believe, what the Waystalker's HP regen used to do, and I believe they nerfed that. So I would expect that to get nerfed at some point. That's kind of the only thing I think really should get nerfed on this guy. He's pretty good otherwise. His career skill, Blessed Blade. Marcus equips a Blessed Blade and slashes down with great force, smiting any evil creature caught in its wake and dealing heavy damage. So this is kind of like a Shade Stab for a tank class. It doesn't do quite as much damage as that, obviously, but it's pretty decent for kind of hacking down an elite, hacking down some hordes, fighting a monster. This guy can kind of do it all. He's also got the Knight's Challenge, deals 10% more damage to the first enemy hit. Now I'm not sure if that's like the first enemy in the entire map and that's it, or if it's just like the first enemy that you hit when you swing for each swing, or hey, it's not explained. Fat Shark, please. But I'm assuming it's like when you swing, it's the first enemy you hit, and he has that. He's also got Thirst for Glory, 5% movement speed, whatever. And then he's got Bastion of Bretonnia. Marcus can use shields to block warp fire and thrower attacks. Hell yes, I've wanted this forever. I want this for all shield weapons, to be able to block a fire rat, because they're so annoying. The whole point of picking a shield is that you can just stop anything, and you're just a tank. So definitely very nice. Also another reason why I keep the Bretonnian Sword and Shield in my second slot, because he can block the fucking fire rats, dude. But alas, this is a killing build. We're going to be doing some serious damage with this build, which is why for the first talent I go for the Lady's Wrath. Melee killing blows restore temporary health based off the health of a slain enemy. So higher the difficulty, higher the HP, more temp health you get. And with Boon of Shalia, it's 30% more. So it's excellent. He also has Lady's Generosity, which is just staggering, gives you temp health. Good if you're going to stick with the shield quite often. Actually not too bad with the Bretonnian longsword either, because it's got a tremendous amount of stagger force, but I prefer killing blows for quicker and larger chunks of THP. There's also heal share here, and I hate it. I've talked about it before, and I'm not even going to cover it because I hate it so much. And then down here, these 3 talents are actually pretty interesting. This is the first one I used when I first started playing Grail Knight. Power level of heavy attacks increased by 25%. Virtue of heroism. I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to do heavy attacks quite often. I want that 25% power. Snap a lap a dab, yeah. He's also got Virtue of Knightly Temper. Critical strikes instantly slay enemies if their current health is less than 4 times the amount of damage of the critical strike. Half effect versus Lords of Monsters. Kind of an interesting little unique talent here, but I don't really build for crit damage on my builds. I do build for crit strikes, crit chance rather. So yeah, I might mess around with this one here and there, but I think a very practical one is Virtue of Ideal over here. So I looked at Virtue of Heroism and I'm like, this one gives me 25% power. And I looked at Virtue of Ideal over here, and killing enemies increases power level by 10% for 10 seconds, stacks up to 3 times. Bitch, that's 30% power for 10 seconds. All I gotta do is kill any enemy. I can kill 3 clan rats, and I get 30% increased power. Sign me up. Hell yes. Virtue of Ideal. Down here, Smiter, pretty decent for the longsword. First enemy you hit, like your first swing basically, is 20% extra damage that other talents like Bulwark and Mainstay do not get. And then its second hit is 20% as well, and then the third one is 40%. So you're getting that kind of stacking damage, better for like single targets, things of that nature. If you want to be more of a horde capable kind of person, enhanced power, increases total power level by 7%. That lets you get a little more cleave going on, although I don't know that it's super worth it because you don't have a ranged weapon, so you don't get the benefit of also having range damage. Bulwark, also fairly decent because you have the shield and the staggery sword that I'm holding right now. So if you want to help your team out, make them be able to do 10% more damage to some enemies, this is the one for you. But I tend to just stick with Smiter. I know it. I know how it works. I'm comfortable with it. This is the one I like. Down here, you have Virtue of the Penitent. So the Lady's Favor now grants a repeatable quest that rewards a potion of strength to Marcus upon completion. If you're what I call a pothead, someone who really likes potions, I guess this would be for you. To me, this is not really all that impressive. I rather have other things than strength potions in my back pocket. And does this even work when you're holding a Grim? I have no idea. I've never tried it. I would think not, though. Virtue of Purity increases the potency of blessings rewarded upon completing a quest by 50%. I also think this one's kind of dumb, because when you find that tome, you're okay. You would go from 10% reduced damage to 15% reduced damage. Is it really worth it? I don't think so. I think Virtue of Duty at this point in Grail Knight's evolution is the one to go, because you get an additional quest. So when you complete them all, you'll have 10% reduced damage, I believe 10% increased damage, and then HP regen, which will probably go away at some point. But for now, regens your health to full pretty quickly. So definitely this is the one for now that I like. He's got Virtue of Joust, increases push arc and stamina regeneration by 30%. Pretty decent if you want that. Where is it? Yeah, pretty decent if you want, to be like a kind of a tank, kind of a shield bearer person. Just keep in mind, I believe that push arcs are capped out at 180 degrees. So, make sure you check your weapon before you pick this talent, because you don't want to, pick it if you already have a maxed or close to max push arc, for defensive builds. Yeah. Virtue of Discipline. Timed blocks increase power level by 20% for 6 seconds. So if you're all about that parry life, man, you're all about like true freaking just sword play, like blocking and timing things, and you're into that kind of unique play style, I mean, go for it, dude. You get 20% increased power. You get 30% power here. Fuck yeah. Like, you'll have, I guess what I'm assuming is 50% increased power. for 6 seconds? Hell yes, do that. But I personally like Virtue of Stoicism. This is the main reason I use Bundeshalia. 50% of damage taken is regenerated as temporary health for 5 seconds. Perfect for me because I get hit so freaking much because I just don't care about my life. I like killing things, so I'm gonna get hit. 5 seconds later, all that damage, or half of that damage I took, becomes temp health. Sign me up. I'm taking that shit. Hell yes. Virtue of Stoicism. I love you. And for the ultimates, Virtue of the Impetuous Knight. Killing an enemy with a Blessed Blade increases movement speed by 35% for 15 seconds. That's so long, but it's so stupid because I hate movement speed. I'm sorry. I really don't even want him to have this, let alone this. I mean, he's like, what am I gonna do with this movement speed? I won't be able to hit anything while I'm fast like that. I'll be completely inaccurate. I'll be completely away from my team if I just keep running. How does this help me? Yeah, whatever. Who cares? Virtue of Confidence. Changes Blessed Blade to a horizontal slash that cleaves through and staggers multiple enemies. So if you're a straight up horde killer, this is the one for you because you can just take out an entire line or maybe even 2 or 3 of rats, of chaos, of anything. Virtue of Confidence. But the one I really like, Virtue of Audacity. Adds a second stab to Blessed Blade, dealing devastating single target damage. So this is the one if you want to be really good for like fighting a monster, if you want to be able to just like take on patrols with little to no problems, this is probably the one for you and me, because this one can do some serious beefy damage. And when your tank can actually do some serious damage against a monster, I mean, that's pretty cool to me. It's what I like to do. I mean, this is the build that I've been using pretty much. This is a kind of high damage-ish melee focused build. With Bundeshalia, you get a bunch of temp health, you get some extra power, you get the buffs from Virtue of Duty, which helps your team. I mean, this is a pretty cool class. I would expect to see that regen get nerfed or maybe even taken away at some point, because I think it is a little bit too strong right now, but I think everything else about this guy is pretty good. This is a fun class. If you haven't gotten it yet, I would suggest picking it up. And if you haven't joined my Discord group yet, feel free to do so. Link is in the description. We've got over 60 people in there now. People who are looking for groups. People who, you know, if you want to suggest a video idea for this channel, that's the place to do it. I have a number of channels where you can chat, talk, and meet people. You might even meet the love of your life in there. Who knows? Huh? Join that shit. Links in the description. Bye.